Hello, and welcome to another episode of BTV. I am Renee Boston of Boston Law Group LLC. Today I want to talk to you briefly about issues surrounding plastic surgery mishaps. Now, plastic surgeries and cosmetic surgeries have been for a long time kind of taboo and aren't really things that people talk about in social settings or, away from close family and friends. However, the tides have changed and now people are quite frequently sharing information about cosmetic procedures that they have. And I mean, plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures can range from anything from, your breast augmentations to nose enhancements or corrections, liposuction. There are a wide range, even tattoo and scar removal. But I want to talk to you about the mishaps. And a mishap is not necessarily, and how mishaps are not necessarily medical malpractice or medical negligence. In fact, there are a lot of mishaps that could occur that, some people say that accidents don't really happen, but sometimes in the law accidents do happen or mistakes do happen that aren't necessarily medical malpractice or medical negligence. Now, I'll give you an example of each. Say, for instance, you go in for a tummy tuck, and we had one young lady reach out to us about this particular issue, and she had her tummy tuck procedure done, but there was, in her opinion, an excessive amount of scarring as a result of the tummy tuck procedure. Now, speaking with the doctor, he indicated that scarring could occur based on other factors unrelated to the procedure itself. Now, generally you will scar after a procedure of any kind. However, how long the scars last, how invasive the scarring is, will depend on certain factors. However, such as, being overweight, being a chronic or heavy smoker, not following procedure and protocol that you are discharged with when leaving the procedure. So take those things into consideration after you've had your cosmetic procedure, and that would affect how much scarring that you do or occurs, if any. Now, with this young lady in particular, she had the excessive amount of scarring in her opinion. The doctor told her to stop smoking. She continued to smoke. She continued to be overweight. I mean, it's not a punishment, but it's something that you need to take into consideration and start moving toward correcting any issues prior to or either during the course of your treatment for any medical procedure, not just a plastic surgery or a cosmetic procedure. But with this young lady, she was upset and she went to the doctor and, with all the scarring that occurred, and she wanted, she came to us and said, hey, is this medical malpractice or is this medical negligence? And on the surface, it may appear to the layperson that, hey, the doctor didn't do what he was supposed to do because this young lady had an excessive amount of scarring, but because of the underlying factors, her weight, her smoking history, and things of that nature, which caused the excessive amount of scarring, or which not necessarily caused it, but aided in the fact that the scarring took longer to heal and was quite more invasive than other patients that she had, this particular doctor had in the past, and that this young lady actually knew some of the prior patients and noticed that they didn't have the same amount of scarring that she did, and that's kind of what prompted her to say, hey, I have a problem and I think this doctor messed up. And the doctor quite easily defended himself by saying, hey, if you had done everything you were supposed to do, Miss Patient, you may not have experienced the amount of scarring that resulted. So take everything into consideration, including your discharge notes that you're giving when you're leaving the procedures, and if you follow them to the T and you still have problems resulting from that, then you may have some issues down the road. Then you may have some issues that could raise concerns, or where you would need to consult an attorney or either go get a second opinion on the procedure itself to see if the doctor fell below the standard of care. Now, what I mean by that is, just because you don't like the result of a cosmetic procedure or any procedure doesn't necessarily mean that the doctor committed a medical malpractice or medical negligence. What that means is simply that the doctor must fall below the standard of care for a similar situated doctor doing the procedure that you just had. Now, if that happens and another doctor is willing to go on record and say, hey, doctor number one screwed up and this is how he or she screwed up, then that's different. You have to have someone to go on record to say that the first doctor messed up, and how that doctor messed up, and what he or she, the new doctor, what he or she would do to correct that. So it has to be kind of a cause and effect situation between two doctors to determine whether or not the first doctor fell below the standard of care and could arguably be considered as having committed a medical mistake. Now, like I said, medical mistakes can be medical negligence, or they could just be, in fact, a medical mistake. So it really depends on what happened, what the allegations are as far as what this doctor did or did not do. Now, I'll tell you another example. Another young lady reached out to us about a breast augmentation procedure that she had done, and the result of this one was one breast was significantly larger than the other. Now, she did go back to the same doctor and allowed him to correct the procedure. I know we've heard from other people that say, well, why should I go back to the same doctor who, you know, in my opinion, butchered me the first time? And it may not necessarily be that the doctor butchered you. It's just that in the law you have a duty to mitigate any damages that you may have. So for instance, with this young lady, the breast sizes were significantly off. Had she, you know, sat around and complained, you know, woe is me, I have one breast that's larger than the other and I'm not going to do anything about it, but sit here and complain and not try to correct the issue, then, you know, it's kind of on you if it's something that can be corrected. And she went back to the doctor and he actually did, you know, fix the issues, and she's good as new. So I'm not necessarily saying that you have to go back to the original doctor, but that may be a start to determine whether or not that mistake occurred and how the mistake needs to be repaired. Because you do need to get especially with cosmetic procedures, they're fairly routine to get repaired if they are you know, done within a reasonable amount of time. And not necessarily that too, but depending on what the nature of the procedure was. Breast augmentations, tummy tucks, nose jobs, things like that, you know, they can always be corrected if you're not satisfied with the results. And once again, remember, being not satisfied with the results does not necessarily mean that a medical mistake, which could lead to medical negligence or medical malpractice, did occur. So our advice would be, if you have a procedure that was done and you don't like the initial results, go back to the doctor, find out if he or she can see, you know, what you see as far as the mistakes that you find or that you feel or that you're not comfortable with, and give him or her an opportunity to correct any errors that you may find. If they can't, you know, you're always welcome to seek a second opinion and grab your medical records while you're at the first doctor's office and seek a second opinion. And by that, go see another surgeon that does the same type of work. You know, if you went in for a nose job, don't get someone who does, you know, skin, a dermatologist or skin surgery or anything like that. Go to another a nose doctor and have him or her look at your nose to see what mistakes, if any, the first doctor made. What can they do to correct it? And then that could be your starting point with going back to the first doctor and say, hey, look, you messed up. You messed up on this one, and it was severe enough. Now, be wary of those doctors who will treat you and say, hey, that first doctor really messed up, but because they only want another procedure out of you, they only want to bill you again. And this may not necessarily be about the money as far as you're concerned with, you know, it doesn't look like he or she said it was going to look. And if that is the case, the result, like I said, because you don't like the result or the result is not what you expected, does not necessarily mean that a medical mistake or a medical malpractice occurred. So get your records, follow up with your first doctor, see if anything can be corrected. If it can't, go seek a second opinion. And if you don't like the results after that, you know, you may want to start getting the ball rolling on if a procedure actually happened. But if you have any questions about that, we have plenty of other answers in other YouTube videos, articles on our website, or you can ask us a question directly. Call us 301-850-4832. Again, that's 301-850-4832. Send us an email, info@bostonlawllc.com. That's info, I-N-F-O, at bostonlawllc.com. Or you can search our YouTube page, or find us on Facebook, or ask us a question on Twitter, whatever you prefer. But if you have any questions about problems with your cosmetic or plastic surgery procedure, give us a call, contact us, or reach out to us. Once again, I'm Renee Boston. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
You have just listened to a podcast from the trial attorneys at Boston Law Group, LLC. For more information, you can reach us at 301-850-4832. And if you would like us to answer a question in one of our podcasts, send us an email at info@bostonlawllc.com. Thank you and have a great day.